Welcome to my 182nd video on my work with OO gauge. Well, what can I say? Despite my misgivings, I broke down and bought a Hornby Dublo 3-rail 062 tank engine, otherwise known as the Dread N2. Now, this model was never marketed by Hornby explicitly as an N2, they just called it an 062 tank, but I think it has to be generally acknowledged that it was based on the LNER N2 class. This is a picture of a real N2 and of the Hornby model. I'd say by the standards of the time that the model is pretty close. It could certainly pass well enough for me to live with it as an N2. Now, I model LMS operations in OO gauge. My family worked for the LMS and I don't have room to represent everything in OO gauge, so I stick with the LMS. And if you bought a Hornby Dublo 3-rail LMS tank engine, the 062, the Dread N2 was what you got. There was no other choice. This was the one and only tank engine that was ever sold as a Dublo 3-rail model in LMS livery. I have a 264 tank in LMS livery, but that's a repaint, rebadge, renumber. That one was actually based on the BR4MT and was only sold in British Railways livery. Seen here is the EDG7 tank goods set, which came with an 062 tank in LMS black livery, together with 3 wagons in LMS bauxite livery. The problem is that the Dublo 062 tank model really looks nothing like any engine that the LMS actually operated. Now, this passing off of the 062 wasn't just done with respect to the LMS. Hornby sold this model in pretty much every possible livery. Well, all of the big four and also British Railways, as seen here. Why did they do it? Well, I don't have any real evidence from the source, but I'd assume that the answer is that the 062 tank was one of the first Dublo models introduced at the end of the 1930s, and at that time Hornby were unable to fit the motor and mechanism that they wanted to use into anything smaller. If possible, it would have fairly clearly been better to go with an 060 chassis. All of the companies used those, both as tank engines and tender engines. With an 060, they could have approximated to an LMS Ginty, a GWR Pannier tank, an LNER J27 or whatever. But as I say, I don't think they could manage it with the motor and mechanism that they had. Hornby did eventually release an 060 engine in 3-rail, the 08 diesel shunter as seen here, but that came out 20 years later towards the end of 3-rail production when smaller motors were available. And so far as I know, this was the only 060 that was ever available in Dublo 3-rail. There was the Southern R1 in Dublo 2-rail, but I'm pretty sure that was never sold in a 3-rail version. So the 062 tank is very much an awkward compromise as an LMS engine. The LMS did inherit a couple of obscure classes of 062 freight tank engine designed early in the 20th century by Longbottom and Adams, but these were so obscure that I haven't been able to find a single picture of any of them. There was also the LNWR Webb coal tank, which has been modelled in OO gauge by Bachmann, and there is one in preservation. But that doesn't look anything like the Hornby N2 model, the chimney, dome and cab all being much taller and the boiler of a different diameter, as seen here in this comparison between the Hornby 062 and the Bachmann model of the Webb coal tank, which is quite accurate. I have wondered if it might be possible to modify the Bachmann Webb coal tank body to make it work with the Hornby 062 chassis. Not that the Hornby chassis itself is really that close, but it would be a possibly interesting exercise, but I'm not going to pay full price for a Bachmann Webb tank just to butcher it to make the attempt. If I saw a Bachmann Webb coal tank body going cheap, I might try it. But as I say, I did break down and buy an N2, or whatever you want to call it. I didn't buy the cheapest one available, nor the most expensive. A lot of these models were sold, not surprisingly, since it was the only small tank engine available in Dublo 3-rail, so they're quite common. Play-worn examples can be picked up for £30 or less. On the other hand, pre-war electric examples go for as much as £200, and the model was also made in clockwork before the war, and a clockwork example in good shape could fetch over £400. I bought an example with a body in LMS livery in quite good shape, and which had been serviced and remagnetised and was sold as a good runner. And when I tried it on my 3-rail tabletop, it did indeed prove to be a good runner, operating smoothly with less power than any of my other 3-rail locos, including the Duchess of Buccleuch, my previous best runner. This 062 would run smoothly with about 30% power, something I hadn't really come to expect from 3-rail locos. So now let me try to show you a bit of running with this model, about which I still have mixed feelings. As an operating model engine, it's excellent. I just wish that it looked more like something that the LMS actually ran. Okay, let me just see if I can show you some video of the N2, or whatever you want to call it, 060 tank, 062 tank, running. Lovely little runner, just a pity it doesn't actually look like any LMS loco. Oh, the clocks are still chiming. He's a bit slow. It's actually a couple of minutes past 10, but he's still chiming. Okay, power. Nothing's happening. Nothing is happening because I forgot to set the switch to forwards. Got to set the switch to forwards and then something will happen, yes. No? Okay, more clocks chiming. I thought we were done with the clocks chiming, but not apparently. Now this is at 30% power, which is quite impressive for an older... That's 30% power. That's quite impressive for an old 3-rail loco. Yeah, it's an excellent runner. As I say, it's just a pity it doesn't actually look like something that the LMS ran. I'm sorry about all this. I thought the clocks had finished chiming, but I guess I have several of them set slow. Okay, let's just put the controller down a minute. Let's just take him round the back briefly. I've got all the other locos I currently own here somewhere or other, but they're parked. See, I've got a couple. I got, I got the Duchess of Buccleuch and the what is it, 264 tank parked in the shed there, and the Royal Scot and the 8F in the station. Okay, so if I set those points correctly, he should now go. He really does not need a lot of power. 30 or a half more than 30 is plenty for him. I'm going to go through that point okay without derailing. Points are always the weak spot for derailing. Or for hesitating as well. He hesitated a little over that point. Okay. Now, you can see next to him there's a little train of coal wagons, which are, they're coal wagons I acquired recently as well, and a brake van, but he's facing the wrong way for them. I've only got two hands, so I'm going to have to put the controller down. We'll switch his power into neutral. Okay, so, just trying to set points so I can take him round the reversing loop. So we'll take him in here, and in here. That should bring him back round the reversing loop. That way that point is set. We set that one, and with a bit of luck, if I take him backwards, now I should be able to back him. Bit optimistic perhaps, but we should be able to back him. So power to backwards. Go on. Now he's not going. Why is he not going? Okay. He just ran. I didn't even touch him. I was going to give him a poke, but I didn't even touch him. He just suddenly started. Okay, round the reversing loop. So now he's facing the other way, having been round the reversing loop. So now we'll set the points back again, so he doesn't go through the reversing loop again, because I don't want him to take the train through the reversing loop. Should we take the train on the inner loop or the outer loop? I think we'll take the train round the outer loop. So outer loop setting. Outer loop setting. Okay. Okay, so now we'll take him forwards to there, and then we'll set this point, and we'll take him backwards and see if we can pick up this train. As I say, manoeuvres of this complexity are perhaps a little optimistic, and I don't think I'm going to try and rely on coupling the train. Nope, and it didn't couple. The train is not coupling. This is the problem. Okay. I'm just trying to push the couplings into engagement there. With a bit of luck, the train might be coupled now. So can I get it to go out? Always much more. Oh, no. Nope. Wasn't coupled well enough. I don't think that was railed well enough, quite honestly. And that level crossing, I don't know, it's hard to do left-handed. I'm trying to hold the camera in my right hand here. Bring the loco back a bit. It's hard to get things to couple and stay coupled. Especially trying to do it all one-handed. Yeah, these couplings are not particularly keen on staying coupled. Now, I must admit, I tried him. In fact, even now, I think he's getting a little bit of wheel slip pulling this. Oh, for goodness sake. So the wagons keep coming uncoupled. Oh, dear. Oh, this is ridiculous. I can't do this. I can't. Oh, blimey. No, I can't do that with one-handed reaching. No, I can't do it. Okay. Oh dear, still got this point set so he would derail on that point. Oh dear. I mean, the problem is, even with the handheld controller, I've only got... Oh, I can't do this. I cannot do this left-handed. Got to transfer the camera to my left hand because I absolutely cannot do this left-handed. Okay, now I'm trying to put the camera back in my right hand. I apologize for all the camera jiggling, but I don't know that. No, see, I don't think that. It's really hard to make these wagons stay joined. I hope it wasn't quite as hard as this to keep wagons coupled on real railways, else they would have had serious problems. The engine's running fine, it's just the wagons keep coming uncoupled. A coal train, there you go, John Coal. Oh no, goodness, the stupid thing has come uncoupled again. Back it up. No. Now the engine's given up being coupled. Oh well, you get the idea. If I could ever get any wagons to stay coupled together, if I could ever get any of these three-rail wagons to actually stay coupled together for 5 minutes, I could run a train, but basically I can't, because every 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, every minute or so, the darn things come uncoupled. No, I can't do it. They just won't couple, the stupid things. Oh, for goodness sake. Yeah, they really don't want to couple these things, you see. The simplex couplings just keep popping away from each other. The simplex couplings, you know, just pop away from each other all the blithering time, I'm afraid. So trying to keep them coupled is next to impossible. Nope, he's already lost his... I don't know. Probably get on better. Try and push the blithering train, then at least the stupid wagons can't come uncoupled if I'm pushing it. But then they'll probably derail. Nope. Nope. Although we were successfully pushing the train, we do not have an actual coupling to the loco. Well, I could try bending some of these couplings in a bit more, but I don't know. What can you do? Anyway, the tank loco runs very nicely, even if I can't get these wagons to stay coupled. Yeah. Okay, I give in. Honestly, I give in with trying to keep these wagons coupled. It just isn't working, is it? But nevertheless, the tank loco itself is working quite nicely. I'm still trying. I keep trying. Keep hoping. I'm getting overheated now myself, not the engine, me. Running it half faster here, maybe keep a bit of tension on the couplings. They're less likely to uncouple perhaps if they're being pulled a bit harder. There you go, so we actually got the darn thing round a few times without it uncoupling, finally. Whew. What a performance, eh? But as I say, you know, it's a lovely little model. It would be one of my favourite engines if it actually looked like a real LMS engine. As it is, I'm a bit divided. It's one of my favourite engines as a runner, for sure. Very nice in its way, albeit a bit of an odd duck.